Let me take you to the Supreme Court now for some breaking news. And the Supreme Court has ordered Parliament to expunge James Quayson's name from its record as a member of Parliament. I beg your pardon. Legal Affairs correspondent Joseph Akable is joining us from the Supreme Court.
Injunction on the EC. So my client is not looking forward to anything. The EC will have to comply. Insofar as that seat now remains vacant, the EC has to conduct elections in that constituency. So it is not for my client to be looking forward to. It is for the EC to comply with the orders of the Supreme Court. And the constitutional injunction is that if a seat is vacant, you organize fresh elections.
I mean, this essentially was decided when you went to the High Court. Will you have to come in again for Parliament to do what is needed?
I don't understand how you mean by it was decided.
I mean, when you went to High Court, by the fact that the High Court ruled that his election was null and void, it was implied that the Electoral Commission was expected to conduct a by-election, but we've not seen same until you've come to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, but let me correct you. The fact that the High Court held that he was not qualified did not necessarily mean that the Supreme Court was going to adopt the same position. You should also bear in mind that the decision of the High Court, the judgment of the High Court, is being contested in the Court of Appeal. Indeed, they filed an appeal. It was in the course of the appeal processes that we thought it wise to invoke the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to have this matter finally determined. But the Supreme Court is the highest court in the land, and it is the court which determines all constitutional matters. We wanted a strict and proper interpretation, and true as that of Article 94(2)(a), and that is what has been done this morning.
There's this school of thought that even if there's going to be a by-election, as it stands now, Mr. Quayson will still be qualified to stand the election. How about that?
I don't think I want to answer to that. You can go and ask Mr. Quayson's lawyer. I'm not his lawyer. As to whether he wants to contest or not, is the business of himself and the NDC, the party to which he belongs.
Not contest qualified.
I am not in a position to answer that. He can advise himself, as he did the first time.
It's been a long road for your plaintiff. For the brief moment that this decision was made, has he been able to tell you his feelings about Eden?
He's standing. He's not. Don't put him to that. He is here. It's obvious. It's obvious that he should be a happy man, because the matter started from the High Court, went to the Court of Appeal, and we are now in the Supreme Court. As a human being, you should be excited. So he is excited.
Okay, thank you very much. And so, so you heard Frank Davis. He is lawyer for Michael Ankoma Nimfa, who brought this particular matter to the Supreme Court. And if you are just joining this live coverage on JoyNews, the breaking news that we have and we are reporting now is that the Supreme Court, a 7-member panel, has by unanimous decision ordered that Parliament should expunge the name James Quayson from its records as a member of Parliament. The court presided over by Justice Jones Doche, with other panel members being Nene Amegacha, Mariam Owusu, Gertrude Tokonu, Professor Enrita Mensah Bonsu, Imano Yoni Kulendi, and Barbara Aka Yensu. The court has ruled that he was not qualified at the time of filing his nomination forms to contest the Assin North parliamentary elections in 2020, and that the EC allowing him to contest when he had not showed evidence of renunciation of his citizenship of Canada is unconstitutional. His election was unconstitutional, null and void, and of no effect, and that the swearing-in that was undertaken was also equally unconstitutional. And so it is as a result of arriving at that conclusion that is how come the Supreme Court ruled that his name should be expunged from its records. And for those who may be very familiar with this particular matter, it started raging from 2020 when the Supreme Court, the High Court for that matter, was presented with a petition before the election, just right after the election. You know, he won the Assin North parliamentary primaries. The matter was taken to court that at the time he filed his nomination form, he had not renounced his Canadian citizenship. And so that was the issue in dispute. The High Court in July 2021 upheld that argument. You recall that sometime in April 2022 again, the Supreme Court by a 5-2 decision, granted an injunction that meant that for the time being, while this particular matter remained pending, James J. Quayson was restrained from holding himself as a member of parliament. And so the final judgment is what the court has delivered a short while ago. And like I did indicate, the summary of that judgment is that Parliament has been ordered to expunge James J. Quayson from its records because he was not qualified at the time he contested the parliamentary post. So this is the breaking news from the Supreme Court. My name is Joseph Akabile. Back to you in the studio.
Right, so Joseph will stay in court for us. Hopefully we'll be able to pick a few reactions, especially from James J. Quayson, who has, well, no longer can hold himself as MP because the Supreme Court has ordered Parliament to expunge his name from its record. We would also try and reach the Electoral Commission because you know the processes that need to follow. When a seat becomes vacant, all those will be coming up subsequently here on the JoyNews channel, your most credible news source. If you just joined us, the news is that the Supreme Court has declared a 7-member panel by unanimous decision that James J. Quayson's name be expunged from Parliament's records as an MP. We'll be back with more. Do stay.